everybody, and welcome to OMSI 2 with And More Bus Videos. I'm also known as And More Central, depending on what day of the week and what video you're watching, and welcome to our slightly relaunched, slightly new looking, more regular OMSI 2 Bus Simulator series. We're starting off in an incredibly exciting light with the brand new Blueprint Productions Volvo B9TL and B7TL bus pack. Both vehicles are double-deck buses, double-deck vehicles, made with Volvo chassis on Wrightbus Gemini bodies between the sort of years of 2000, and the B9TLs reflect the ones with the standard sort of front end up till the age of about 2009, 2010, before Volvo and Wright went towards the Gemini 2 bodywork. So it's quite interesting for me is this, because these vehicles I've been around in the OMSI 2 world and the OMSI 2 community for quite a while to actually remember the original very poor B7TL Gemini and the original that was quite exciting at the time, but when you look at it now, especially in comparison to this, it does look a little bit aged. The original B9TL Gemini 2. So I'm very, very excited for this one. Blueprint Studios are advertising this. It includes 35 different variations, which are the B7TL Gemini and the B9TL Gemini 1. Includes 35 variations, includes a lovely free to download repaint pack that you can download after you've purchased it, includes all your things like your ticketers, as you can see, your standard logging equipment. It includes specifications for a Reaver, Stagecoach and First predominantly. It includes, as I say, nice destination displays. We'll go through quite a lot of the other bits. And all of this is all yours for £16.99. So just under £17. Available on their website. Blueprint Productions, I believe, is an offshoot of one of the bigger bus production groups, so it does come with that sort of reliability and that assurance that it is a good and high quality vehicle, despite the relatively recent name. So it is still a nice high quality vehicle. I have been told that the B7TL is the sounds on that are a little bit spicy, a little bit interesting. We'll leave that for our next upcoming video, but for now I'm very, very excited for this. The videos I have watched and the reviews I've heard before I bought it myself and wanted to do my own review, and all do say that the B9 is amazing, and some of the videos I've heard of the B9 and its sounds, I've been absolutely blown away. As someone that drives buses in real life, I haven't had a chance to drive a B9TL as of yet. B9TL is something I do want to drive, haven't had a chance to drive them yet, and so I am very, very excited about this. Looking at the dashboard, very nice. Dashboard is basic, then again the B9TL is basic, and it does the job. We've got our functioning buttons, our start up here, a little bit of flicker on that as it shuts. We can change our lights and bits like that. I don't want it to idle shutdown, so we'll cancel the idle shutdown and get that overridden, although it's stayed on there. And now I'm going to log in here. So our login for this is 532347. So 53. Oh, I've missed one. 532347. I understand that I'm slightly late, but we're all good. And our pin is 3160. So we are doing a 408, the original 375 service from here to Hereford Station. We are slightly late on this run, but we are going to ignore that. We're going to get this logged in, see if it works. It should do. 78, there we go, all logged in. Give it a second. and we're all good to go. So inside, I've put one of these strips of lights on. I can change them so it is realistic to how they are. I've put that strip of light on so it doesn't sort of glaze onto the screen, but also means that passengers are in some lighting, as you can see, it's a little bit of a cloudy day outside. So let's get ourselves round to the stand. I was hoping to have my own earphones in, so I do apologise for slight echo, but the earphones seem to have fallen out with OBS. So OBS decided to take away the gift of sound when I had my earphones in. So I need to work on their relationship together, but as soon as I've done that, we're all good. So looking at this, it seems that the textures that we're dealing with on the ground seem to be very pixelated, very large and pixelated. Hello, hi. I'm now a passenger. They seem to be very, very pixelated. I mean, you do notice that here. I understand if it helps us to have a high quality vehicle and what have, and if it sort of means that I'm not going to suffer with lag, then that's probably a good thing, especially in Bowdenham. It seems to be quite smooth so far. I am very much liking the sounds. I'm also quite happy that the engine shutdown thing's gone off the dashboard. Those of you who were eagle-eyed like myself will have noticed that it stayed on even after I'd revved the engine to override it. Slight little bug fix potentially there. As I say, it did decide it was going to stay on, that I wasn't quite anticipating, but as you do. Let's get a nice screenshot of this. So I've chosen to do my first video of this bus in the brand new First Bus corporate livery. This, as you can see, is the new livery that only just fit under the bridge. Is the new nationwide livery for First Bus. It does now have a new logo associated with it, that doesn't feature on the repaint. That is unfortunate. However, it still looks the part. This particular example of the repaint reflects the vehicles repainted into the corporate livery in Glasgow. Although the vehicles themselves don't have the headrests that you can see here, again, don't quite know why the headrests have been featured. Although they don't have the headrests, the vehicles themselves do have a fully retrimmed interior. The vehicles themselves were the MX-58s from Greater Manchester, following the start of Tranche 2 of the B network, where First Bus lost their Oldham depot to Stagecoach, so B9s were transferred all over the place. Glasgow got quite a few, repainted them into the new, let's get off the curb, repainted them into the new corporate livery and gave them an interior refurbishment. Unfortunately, I didn't go on any on my last visit up to Scotland. However, I did see a few. I was impressed by them, and they looked incredibly smart from the outside. So the vehicle that we're driving ourselves, as you noticed, is a YJ09. I'm pretending that this is 37724. Now, 37724 until very recently was a vehicle based at First Leeds Bramley depot. It's operated out of Bramley on Leeds City services and was the first B9TL within the first West Yorkshire operational company to receive the new First Bus corporate livery. The vehicle has since been transferred to Cornwall and now operates predominantly out of the Camborne depot. And as now, as pot luck and chance would have it, due to its transfer, it is now the first vehicle in Cornwall to carry the new corporate livery. That I do think is very, very funny. Now I'm noticing a little bit of lag spike. I noticed it in other people's videos as well, with this one. It seems to lag a little bit. I mean, we are on Bowdenham, and we do have to remember that we're on Bowdenham. But there is a little bit of a lag that you can sort of notice when you're driving, where you do notice a few frames less than what I'd be used to. I mean, this is also coming from someone that just before filming this has actually cleared out quite a fair one of the computer. So for those of you that have watched the channel and watched the content when it used to be on the More Central channel, will notice how much of a transformation we made and how lag-free the videos tend to be. So this is interesting. I mean, it is a high-quality vehicle, it is a very big map, so we do have to bear that in mind. Thus why my planned videos going forward are varied. Oh, that was interesting. So let's, if we switch... Why won't you... Okay. So if I put... Now, I always run, even in real life, with marker lights on at the very least. Usually full daytime lights I use where applicable. However, if it's a vehicle that has very good side lights that are appropriate, then side lights will be used throughout the day. I'm not a driver that will run without lights. I personally believe it is unprofessional, and I also think it's a little bit unsafe, as when you're driving a vehicle without lights on, you're sort of, as you're moving, sometimes people can't actually see the fact that you're moving. So looking at this seems, I mean, it might just be the glare, but it seems really fuzzy. So when I've got those lights on, it's really fuzzy. When it's off, it's actually quite nice. So again, yeah, it's quite nice. But then as soon as I do put the lights on, it does seem to get a little bit fuzzy. I understand the lighting effect on it, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem, especially from this, when you're sat at this distance and you're sat driving the vehicle, that it just all blurs. So, not to my taste personally. Although again, that's me being incredibly critical. We're going through these lights. They were on orange when we went over the white line. It's all good. Has it knocked itself out of gear? Okay. I think that might have been a mispress on my behalf, but I do love the fact I can drive a B9 in OMSI now. It has been long overdue to drive a proper Gemini 1 bodied B9TL. It is one of the most satisfying things. There are so many people who live with these vehicles. So many of us who live with the buses. We have either caught them in previous walks of life, currently catch them on a daily basis, and to now have that opportunity to be able to drive it in the game, I think brings a whole new level to OMSI that is incredibly exciting. It does also, it has that sort of realistic takeoff of the B9. So it isn't really slow, really sluggish. It isn't really quick. It's sort of that middle bit where if you go in a B9, sometimes if the driver floors it a little bit too much, you feel that judder. you get that sort of judder. You understand that you are driving something with a powerful engine, but because it's got a big, powerful engine, it is a bit heavy. And you do feel that way. I think we do need to try and catch up sometime. How late are we? Oh, we're about 5 minutes late. Okay. So we've not caught up any time, but we've also not lost any. That's fine. So as I say, I think the variation I will be driving most will be the first bus one. It will be this one. This is what I grew up with, as I say, like many people. However, I have also been on B9TLs operated by a Reaver. Have I been on a B9 operated by Stagecoach? Yes, technically yes. Technically yes. I've not been on sort of the B9s with Stager like in Scotland or the examples that ended up at Chester. However, I have been on. Let me just check something. Oh, check that after. All will be well with the world. There's a slight judder in the. There we go. It got camera shy then. It realised it was on camera and it was like, oh. I've been on the B9s at Stagecoach operated in Manchester and B Network up until very recently when they went to Metroline. I went on them. So yeah, I have technically been on them, but they weren't Stagey specs, so I don't know if I'm going to count them. I mean, for the sake of this argument, I think I will, but on the grand scheme of things, probably need to go on a B9. I'm trying to think what B9s they've got left. I think they have two that they use, at least on the Chester City sightseeing. They're all like, they're X first if they're down here, they're X, then they've got some B9s on Olympus bodies up in Scotland. It's all confusing. It does sound very, very nice. It's one of these as well where it's not just sort of the takeoff. Some vehicles you drive, the takeoff's really good, and then when you're stopping it, there's either gaps in the sound or it's slightly unrealistic or it revs beyond belief and you're like, that's not what the bus actually does. And then you're a little bit discontent because it's like, well, what's the point? This is actually does have that realistic stopping. It does have that additional sound in place. It does have that whine that you get from a ZFB9 when it's stopping. And that additional kick down as well that you can hear off the pedals, sounding incredibly nice. I think one of my biggest negatives, just not about the model, but the actual B9 in real life is, if you ever sit in this cab layout, oh my goodness me, you can't see the stopping bell. If you're driving straight on, you cannot see the stopping bell icon. It's hidden under the wheel. That's... Yeah, I don't think I'd ever sit in this position. I'd definitely move the wheel if I was driving this in real life. You can't actually see the stopping bell. That again, it's on the Blueprint Productions. It's either make it unrealistic and move the stopping bell, or sort of just grit your teeth, and that's just a grit your teeth moment. And the steering as well on this. That's why I chose this route to start with, because I knew that this would be the perfect challenge for this bus. I knew it'd challenge it just enough. Just enough where it remains realistic, but you are there like, oh damn, this bus can go through the gaps. Like, you saw how smooth it was then, and from my perspective, yes, it is only a simulator at the end of the day. However, you notice such a difference in how a Volvo handles compared to a Merc, compared to a Scania, compared to an ADL, round that same section. And it's like, if I took the V3D 200 MMC round there, I'd probably struggle because of the turning on that. And that exact same thing is reflective of real life driving. So it's like with this Volvo, this has just handled round there in the same light steering sort of way, just like the B8 RLE Evoras that I drive in real life do, exactly the same as the B8s, where it is so smooth round there and the steering lock is so good. And again, because it's Volvo, it reflects the same thing, and that shows your level of realism, that I can drive another Volvo vehicle in real life, B8, and have the exact same notion that I've just had in this game. That shows realism. If that isn't realism, if that isn't a stamp of approval on the steering and handling of this vehicle, I do not know what is. It's just that you can just relax. It's like when we have a B8 allocated to us driving in real life, it's a vehicle that you just drive and you can relax. Yes, it's longer than everything else in the fleet. However, I could guarantee you could probably get it round more tight turns and gaps and bits like that than you could get some of the shorter E200s round, purely because the B8 steering is better. You can anticipate it better, it is easier to handle, and it is just absolute bliss to drive. So like you notice when you're driving something like this, if you drive it properly in this game and you don't absolutely floor it around, you actually check your mirrors, you do as Sid Simulator would, this will be a vehicle that you will struggle to hit corners in. You will struggle to cut curbs because of how smooth it is, because of how you can feel it as you're going round. There is a difference, and I think that is the biggest thing I can grasp from driving this vehicle now. This is my first drive of it. I've not done an off-camera drive. Sometimes I do an off-camera drive to make sure it works. I didn't, because I was that excited for this. I knew it was going to be the B9 that was going to be the first one I was going to drive, and I was excited to see how it compares to Volvos I've driven in real life. Now, the difference with when I do the video on the B7TL is I've driven B7TLs, so I can tell you how that B7TL performs to actual B7TLs in real life, because I've driven B7TLs in real life. The difference here is I haven't driven B9s, but I've driven other modern Volvos that tell me how realistic this is, that tells me that there is excitement to be had here, and for me personally, it's very exciting to actually be the grasp of a B9. Be it in the virtual world, it's still nice to be driving one. Does cap out at 50 by the looks of it, not 50, not 56, 55 or 62. It's quite surprising. Although, to be fair, you probably don't need to go much faster than that in real life, so that's possibly where that comes from. I was going to give that roundabout a go, and then I sort of looked and I was like, yeah, that's probably not happening. Hey, we're roughly back on time now. It is an incredibly nice route, is this old 375. Really, really is a nice route. It is still a shame, from a personal perspective, having sort of grown up with Bowdenham and it being such a staple as like a South Yorkshire SYT mainline, then first, it was first South Yorkshire pretty much, map as version 4. It was such a shame when version 5 was released as TFL. I understood why, because TFL vehicles do quite well, it's quite popular as concept, but Bowdenham was unique because it covered a city area outside of London, a district, a county. And I think when you sort of TFL it, you take that away. Even, yes, it's on the border and it's reflecting Kent, but you've still taken that away. You've still taken this idea that it was always based on Mark Hodgson's repaints, and it was always sort of like South Yorkshire, and I am biased because I am in South Yorkshire, but it was always SYPTE, SYT, mainline first, bit of a Reeve, a bit of Stagecoach. And I think for people who drive OMSI, especially for the sides of first bus, first and Arriva, not that vastly covered in OMSI as much as you'd hope. I mean, Arriva do have Hertfordshire. That is a map that I am going to be actively re-downloading. I am going to have a drive of, and I'm probably going to take an Arriva B9 on there. Possibly a B7 as well. I might do one way in a B9, one way in a B7, and let you know what I prefer. To be fair, because I do want to have a drive on Hertfordshire, because it's been a while. It is a long route, and I've been to sort of the nearby area. I haven't been on that particular route, but I have been in the nearby area now. So it'd be nice to drive a Riva vehicle sort of reflective to what I went on when I was round there, and what have. So that would be quite nice to sort of reflect on. It's such a smooth bus. And it just feels right driving down here in this on what is now 408 but should be 375 just feels right. Because let's face it, back in version 4, those D92s were B9s. To everyone, they were B9s. That's how we saw them. We saw them as B9TLs in Olympia livery. So driving this on here now, this just feels right. Really, really does feel right. And it just fits round this village like putting an hand in a glove. It's just spot on. Really, really is. It's almost as if the village was made. Oh, I might get a quick screenshot here, I think. Oh, I don't want to be that up close, oh goodness me. Oh no, I don't think it's giving me the angle that I want. I might be able to get a nice... The problem is that isn't far across enough. It's just the wrong angle. Oh, sorry passengers, I'm just trying to find a screenshot angle, just like ignore me. There we go. There we go. And then I'll move it across just a little bit more, not pausing it. Oh, and it's reset it anyway. Okay, that was pointless. I do love the camera angles on this, that is another thing. As someone that does obsess over screenshots as a photographer in real life, who also gets incredibly excited over photos in real life, it is very, very nice to have some good camera views. I feel camera views are something that can unintentionally make or break a vehicle in OMSI, because I think everybody loves a good screenshot that much that if you do have even a high quality vehicle without good camera angles, you can sort of be like, why am I driving it if I can't get a good screenshot? So I do think it can be the make or break of a good OMSI 2 model. Anybody on? Nope, everybody's alight, and I thought they already had, that's why I zoomed through the lights. Again, and just like real life, if you do try and kick this bus down initially, and you try and rag it initially, it will just reject you. It will turn around and go, what are you doing? And judder and judder and judder. So again, just a little test there. But again, B9s are lovely, but they have a lot of revs. If you try and rev, not much will happen. So again, lovely realistic vehicle. And on that note, oh, I like that, where you click the engine off, the lights go off with it. And on that note, we have made it to Hereford Station on the 408 service. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been an absolute pleasure to film. I hope you've enjoyed some of my real life insight from my experience driving the B8s. As I say, if you are new to the channel, you make sure you do subscribe. We have our archive of content and videos, and I also have my exciting other bits and bobs like OMSI 2, which releases twice a week on here as well. So you can look forward to more insights of my real life driving. If you do want to actually watch a series of my real life driving, you can check out my Day in the Life of Bus Driver series on the Animal Century YouTube channel. For now though, I really hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, then do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. If you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the Animal Bus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from OMSI 2 as we look at the very exciting Blueprint Productions B9TL and B7TL bus pack. The next video will have a B7TL in it, and we'll sort of keep rotating them, going through different types and bits like that as we progress through. this sort of our OMSI 2 series. I'm going to be doing OMSI 2 now in series chunks like I do with other videos on the Ammo Central channel. It's much easier for me to manage and maintain, and it will mean that the series is more reliable. It will mean that there's gaps when I do filming. However, it makes life a lot easier, and it means you lot know when videos are releasing. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video, mate. Goodbye for now. Bye.